What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a review of this rack that I ordered from Freedom Breeder, and it's a rodent rack. And we started off, as probably many of you, with a wood rack that was made at home, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the advantages of getting a rack like this, the pros, the cons, and is it worth the money? This rack right here came up to, I believe, $2,600, and that was with a discount. That was with a first customer discount, I believe. We did get a lot of add-ons, a lot of options that you can add to this rack, which we're gonna talk about. So, first things first. One of the best things about this rack, as opposed to a rack that you can make yourself, is the durability. This thing is gonna last you for a lifetime. This is stainless steel, and it's never gonna collect any rust, and it's basically never gonna break. Okay, even if it does break, you take it to get it welded, you're back on business. So it is definitely a good idea to get one of these racks if you plan to stay in the game for a very long time. But even if in the future for some reason you decided that you don't want to do this anymore, you can easily sell it and get very, very close to the price that you paid for. I've seen that posts on Craigslist of people selling not only these racks, rodent racks, but reptile racks, snake racks, and they go for a lot of money, so they barely lose any money. Okay, if I seen him ever go cheap, it's because that person needs to get rid of them ASAP, and that's the only way that you can get it like really cheap, as opposed to a brand new one. Another thing that let me see, I have a little cheat note. Another thing that I really like about these racks, and it's kind of a thing that you can get with the other racks that you can build too, is the tubs. The tubs are very, very, very solid. Okay, these tubs, they do not bend. They are very durable. The rats, I don't know if they don't want to chew them. I don't know if they just can't. Okay, they'll have tried and they can't. But if you have any of those racks that you make yourself, the cement tubs that you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot, all the time we have that issue. Maybe not all the time, maybe less than most people, because these rats are raised to be pet rats too, some of them. But we have that issue all the time that we would come home and there was already a hole like this and a rat sticking out the head. And I'm like, oh my God, we probably had, I don't know, like what, 10? You would say 10 tubs like that, and a bunch of them all scratched. Also, cement tubs, they are very flimsy. Flimsy. So you put them in there and just like trying to move them up and down so they can go in. I guess it also depends on the quality of the rack that you built, how easy they go in there too. But definitely an upgrade, and they're the same price.
The tubs?
Yeah. These tubs, for instance, I believe they're not more than $10. Cement tubs, depending on where you get them, they're around that much. Maybe, I don't know, $7-10. But even if it's $3 more, I mean, you're gonna be spending a lot more money replacing tubs that are cheap. So what you can do, if you want to, is build a rack with these tubs. You just get them, pay the shipping, and you get them home, and you make your rack according to these tubs, and voila. You don't have to pay for expensive steel, and you still get a good quality rack that they're not gonna chew. Another thing is I really like about these you have the option to get them clear, or you have the option to get them gray. We went with the clear one because, one, you can see inside the tub, obviously, and you can see if you have any problems with the water lines. Okay, say for instance that one of them messed up, you're gonna be able to tell if your tub is getting flooded. And if you have a great tub, obviously you can't tell that until it's too late. Okay, and plus it's really fun to watch them, watch the rest. They do some very crazy stuff. They're so funny.
That one's just asleep.
Yeah, the way that they sleep just like a person. It is hilarious. I get some good laughs. Another one. Sorry, well, it's when it's so hot in here. Another thing that I really like too is obviously this being steel, it's very easy to clean as opposed to wood, because wood is porous, so it will absorb all the dust and things like that. Maybe you're having a problem with certain bugs, thank you. If you're having a problem with certain bugs, they can get in the wood, and then you basically have to throw away the whole bag. You can't really treat the wood with the rats in there. So that's another advantage. You can keep this clean. Obviously a bug is not gonna be able to get in here. Okay? So that's another thing that I really like. Another thing that I really like, as opposed to the racks that I've had, and I had a few different configurations for the racks, meaning I had the ones that are really tall, I had ones that go wide instead of up. Is how easy you can move this rack. Now don't get me wrong, this rack is heavy, obviously. It has a lot of rats in them, it has the bedding, it has the food, it has the, obviously, the steel itself is very heavy. But with these casters right here, it is very easy to move it, and I'll show you a little bit. I'll just move it a little bit so you can see. Hopefully I don't pull the water line, but just like that, you can move it around and get to the back. Oh, you don't want to push it from the top. But yeah, you can move it very easily and get to the back and clean it and put the food in there, things like that. As opposed to the other ones kind of like flimsy, especially if you put a lot of weight to it, you're gonna have that issue. Obviously wood, the racks that you build are either made with glue or screws and things like that, and the more that it moves, the more that those things start becoming loose. That's not gonna be the case with this. Another one that I really like is, and I guess this is gonna come down to the accessories that you can do. One of the accessories is this food funnel, which makes it very fast and easy to get the food in there, as opposed to the homemade racks. You basically have to grab a handful or with a scoop or whatever it is and put the food in there, or in the back if you can, and it's just like a little tiny space where you can have the food. On this one, the food hopper is all in the back of the rack, so you can just throw the food in there, and it can go about this high of food, and they have food for weeks and weeks and weeks.
How many bags did we put in?
You can easily put like 3 bags in Missouri of the 50-pound bags on a rack. So you put one of those, 3 of those in there, you forget about it for a cool few weeks, having to worry if they have food or not. Obviously you'll check it after a little while and just spread out the food, that make sure that all the tubs are getting food. But that is a huge time saver as opposed to the DIY racks. And speaking of, obviously this food hopper is optional, okay? And that's another thing that I like about this rack. There are a lot of additions that you can put on your rack. Obviously they cost more depending on what you're getting, but the food hopper, you can choose not to get it, okay? But if you do, it's gonna keep your food nice in one space, and like I said, you can put a lot of food in there, because you could probably put the same amount of food if you didn't have the food hopper, but then it's gonna be covering the entirety of the rack. It's gonna be on your rats, when they eat it all over the tub. You don't want that. So that's one of the things that I really like. One of the features that I added were to protect the water lines right here. I have removed one of these so I can show you, but basically it comes protected like this. And this is what I was talking about too. This, believe it or not, you know, we clean it and it gets super dusty very, very fast. And that's another point that I'm going to touch on. But here, right here, this is protected. That's where the water line goes for the water nozzle, so they can drink water, and it's protected. Why would you want to protect it? Well, if you have this rack in a place such as not inside your house, not in your room like we do, you have in the garage or something like that, maybe out in a tool shed, you might get other animals in there. A rat too, you know. And then that rat is gonna go and chew that water line, and then you're gonna have to basically replace it. It's a pain in the ass to be doing. You get these little protectors right here, and it protects your water line. As you can see, it comes out from here, and this thing too, right here. This whole sheet is protecting the rest of the water line right here. Okay. And then if you need to do something to it, you just pull it out right here, and we can replace it or whatever. One of the upgrades that we got also was stainless steel water nozzles. So basically they're never gonna rust. Obviously you have water going through them.
Can we see from the inside?
From the inside, yeah. You can see right here, they just come around and then they get that water coming out. Obviously if you get some of the other copper ones, I believe they're made of, you run the risk of, you know, issues with them, of gunk and stuff sticking to them. Stainless steel nozzles are basically for life, or at least they're gonna last you a lot longer. Over here too, as you can see, the water line keeps on getting protected right here. This is basically all it does. It comes out just like that, and it protects your water line. You have this, put it back like that. Okay. So that's one of the features that you can add. Other features that you can add is just like locking casters, unless you're gonna put your rack in a space where it's not even. You know, you don't really need it because the rack is very heavy. You're not gonna need it. Another thing, like I said, is let me show you the back of it. So here you go. So you have a better idea. And the food is running kind of low, but I think it's been what, 3 weeks since we put this food in here.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks. So, and they still have some. So like I said, all you gotta do is just make sure that you spread the food once it's running low. I mean, I like to wait until it gets really, really low because I don't want to mix new food with the old one. That way they get rid of it, and then I'll go ahead and put the new food. This right here, this is the food funnel. Sorry about that. I got a call on the video cut. But here's the food funnel. And the cool thing about this is you can just grab it, okay? As you can see, it will be very difficult to put the food in here. So I highly recommend that you get one of these if you're gonna purchase the food hoppers. You just put your food funnel right here, and then you have all this space to just, even if you're able to grab the food and just dump it in here, and it's gonna go everywhere very nicely. You can move it.
Can you show them how you do it without that?
If you didn't have this, you know, I like to keep it up here. And I'm gonna tell you why in a little bit. And I'm not too used to using this. Yeah, there we go. So, what was I saying?
How to put it in without that?
Okay, so basically, if you didn't have that, you know, you would have to like grab a scooper or with your hands, and as you can see, you don't have a lot of space in here to put the food. So if you go in here, you know, it's gonna be very difficult to put their food. And another thing is that what you can do is you can push it accidentally, and then you leave space in the front for them to get out. So you gotta be very careful with that. But other than that, if you don't mind doing that, if you think you can get away with it, I mean, this thing was only like not even $40, I'm gonna say.
How much time did it save you?
You're gonna save a lot of time. You're gonna save a lot of time. This is I mean, it's obvious. You're not doing little bits by little bits. You're just dumping everything in here. Okay. So that's the other thing that you can add. There are other things that you can add, I'm sure, but these are the ones that we thought would be essential. Reason why I got the guards for the water lines was because I don't plan on having them in here all the time. Eventually, probably gonna put them in a garage. So I want to make sure that they're not able to chew that out. And unlikely scenario where they do escape, you know, they can easily get in here. The first things they're gonna do is they're gonna start chewing stuff. Okay, so that's another thing. Another con that I saw was, believe it or not, if you get closer up here, you know, I don't know, maybe this is me being picky, but when I buy stuff, I like my stuff to be brand new. This is basically how it came. You know, just scratches everywhere right here, as you can see. Again, it doesn't affect the rack at all. That's just me being picky.
I mean, you paid a pretty high price for it.
Yeah, you paid a lot of money for it. You know, you wish that there would be some kind of quality control with this. I don't know. You know, if it gets scratched, I want it to be my fault, basically. But that's another thing. Another one, and this is a one that I really wish Freedom Breeder would consider doing. You know, obviously I'm not an expert with this type of material, so I don't know what would be the problems with doing this. But the parts are very sharp. They're very sharp, and you know, these corners right here, they're ridiculously sharp. All of this stuff is very sharp, and obviously you're handling this rack frequently. And I already cut myself right here with the food funnel. Food funnel is extremely sharp. Obviously, I already cut myself very easily, so you have to be very careful. So all these parts right here, I don't know if I mean, I understand that it's gonna take them a lot of time to sand it down or whatever it is that you gotta do, but it will be greatly appreciated, and I wouldn't mind if you had a you know, you had to charge more money so that I don't cut myself when I'm handling this rack. But yeah, that's another thing that you gotta watch out for sure. How sharp it is. Another one is, I don't know what that says.
That's your handwriting.
I know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure there was another thing. But other than that, there's not a lot.
Oh, the spacing.
Oh yeah, the spacing, of course. Yes. One of the things that I really wish was done differently too. As you can see right here, you have a little bit of space, right? If you had just a tiny little bit of space more, you could very easily buy a different type of tub that is the same width, okay, same everything, be able to fit in here, but it's a little deeper, giving the rats a little bit more space, you know, which I really wish. I'm already working on at least the bottom levels to give it more space. So if they had a little bit more space in here, all you would have to do is just swap it. Now that's not possible because it's just probably like an inch and a half maybe. Now I understand that that's gonna make it higher, but I really wouldn't mind, you know, at least having that option. Hey, do you want your rack to be higher so that you can swap these tubs, you know, all these different options of tubs that we have. So now I can't do that. Okay, now what I have to do is I have to basically take this whole level off, okay, by some spacers, which is basically is gonna add more space here, so I can put the level back on and have enough space to be able to swap the rack.
And buy new tubs.
And buy new tubs. Buy the new tubs. So, man, I already scratched myself again. So, yeah, I wish they would at least let you know, hey, you want to do this? We'll charge you this much extra. That would have been fine. I would have been happy paying a little bit more so that I can have that option if I want a different tub here. And that's another thing that you gotta watch out for when you go to our website, is make sure that you look at the measures. Okay, as you can see, I have two different types of tubs here, sizes. So that's how you're gonna be able to figure out which tubs you can have together on the same rack, because they're all not the same size. Okay, so but that's one thing that you can give a call. You can call Jesse and ask him, and he'll tell you. Obviously, they know what you would need. Okay. Oh yeah, another thing that I wanted to talk about too was I wish that they could come up with something that I don't know. Obviously, they're the experts. Something that could cover this part right here, because this is the reason why I left it like that. These rats have nothing else to do all freaking day but be pushing bedding out. For some reason, if you have rats, you know that they like to reorganize their house all the time. And one of the things that they like to do is they will literally grab the bedding and come up here and just push it out right in front of me. Like, take that. And I'm just like, seriously? So there's always bedding here, so you're always gonna have to be freaking cleaning the floor. It's non-stop. I wish that there was something. I'm gonna have to put something myself, some sort of maybe like a magnetic strip or something like that, so I can just slam it in there and they can stop throwing the goddamn bedding out.
It's funny because they look at you and do it like they
Yeah,
hate
they
you.
look at you and they'll do it right in front of you. And no, it pisses you off, you know. Anyway, guys, that's just my little review of this rack. But the things that I have noticed, I don't regret paying $26 or more, $100. I don't know how much, but it was almost $3,000. That's for sure. I don't regret paying that. Very, very happy with it. And you know. Oh, another thing is I did notice that a lot of these portions right here, you can see one right here. They're like that. I don't know if you can catch it on the video, but they're cut. I don't know how that's gonna affect in the future. You know.
Oh, it's barely holding on.
Yeah, it's barely holding on right here. I don't know if they hit it or things, but a lot of there's more than a few places where you can see that. I don't know how that's gonna affect it in the future, if at all. We'll just have to wait and see. But I guess maybe a little more quality control.
She's organizing her.
Yeah, there you go. See? Maybe a little bit more quality control, and then I think we would be very good. It's so funny. I really enjoy watching rats play around. They're so funny. Anyway, guys, well, there you have it. Let me know if you have any questions. If there's anything that you would like to know about these racks, do not hesitate to ask. Leave a comment. I can help you out. If not, you can reach out to Freedom Bureau and talk to Jesse. But yeah, if you're asking me if it's worth it, if I would spend the money again, yeah, I would. I definitely would. Like I said, if I want to get out of it, I can easily get most of my money back, and I have already made a lot of money with these rats. You know. Yeah. All right, guys. See you next time. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget to like, please, and subscribe.